As an owner and somebody just moving into the MSP world, I truly appreciate all the guidance and help that the whole team here at CharTec provides. And there's no stupid question, there's nothing too silly to ask or too serious. They'll jump in the mud puddle with you and help you get through it and come out.
Alex coming to stage and just realizing that he has such a history of growth for this company, starting it from nothing and bringing it to where it is now, the amount of knowledge that he has, that alone, talking to him for 10 minutes, I was able to stop him in the hall. He's an open book. You know, he gives you the information that you could take back, but it's practical. But it's not just about sales and marketing. He also, connects on that personal level, and being able to have a communication with someone like that at the level he is, it's unreal.
Alex Rogers took me in with the prayer. That, for me, it really made me feel like a family. So that in itself just drew me in, and just a very personable guy. And, you don't know what to expect with this guy. And his words really, really resonated.
Yeah, I think that adventurous approach to life, as well as finding ways to be able to tie in the things that you're passionate about in all of those areas of work and life, have been probably the biggest takeaway from the times that I've been able to listen to Alex, both in conversation as well as presentation. He's a great coach in terms of giving you some very detailed things to try, as well as the big overview of where those fit into the next steps. And he's also very enthusiastic and encouraging, as well as not afraid to keep you accountable in those conversations. There's no fluff.
Alex is amazing. I had the opportunity to have lunch with him or sit at his table at lunch. And he told me about some of his stories and the passion that he has for this academy and the challenges that he's faced and persevered through to continue to be a part of this community. It's one of the most sincere passions I think I've ever come across.
Alex is every bit of what he's built up, the legend. Alex is the man. He has his depth of knowledge and his ability to articulate and to drill in past the minutia and truly get to the root of a challenge and then walk you through it. I actually had a coaching session with him. I felt so blessed to be able to tap into some of that knowledge and coaching.
When you have training like CharTec, but they actually operate an MSP, that changes the game right there. They're not just here to coach and teach you something that they're not practicing on a daily. I mean, we're in this great facility and there's an actual MSP operating here day in and day out. That's pretty special.
Nick was really amazing. I like the fact that he was stern with me, right? I'm an older guy. So I like that he was direct and stern, right? But he educated me in a way that I really fed off of. And I think anybody who works with Nick in the future, it would be a pleasure to be able to do that.
Nick's one of those that you wish he was beside you, sitting with you all the time, and you could train with him day in and day out. The professionalism, but just the sheer confidence. One of the things I think in sales that a lot of people lack, and I've struggled with it myself, is the confidence when going to a client's location. Nick bleeds that confidence, and his processes that are down pat are unbelievable.
The information that he was sharing was years and years of experience, and I could tell that what he was teaching us is invaluable.
Meeting Nick was like, it was like Christmas for me, opening something new. Nick drew me in. Nick is my all-star for this. Learned a lot from him. Very professional, very charismatic guy, a wealth of information, very personable. Talking to him one-on-one, it just really opened my eyes to sales and what I was doing wrong and how to just walk away from a deal when it's not going anywhere. The guy, he knows his stuff, and I'm really, really impressed with Nick.
Well, Nick's amazing. He has so many years of experience, it just rolls off his tongue. And he's passionate about it because, quite frankly, he's made the mistakes. So he knows as he's training you, he can, as he says, he can appear to be an asshole. But there's a reason for it. Because he knows if you don't stick to the program, the outcome will be less than acceptable.
One of the things that impressed me most about Nick is the energy of which he conveyed simple messages that made little things added over time into a big deal. And additionally, his compassion for other people in the room when they didn't really understand some of the messaging. At no time was Nick ever communicating in a negative way with that person and allowed them to speak freely before he was answering those questions.
I really appreciate Nick's detail and passion for sales. And so for me, looking at that from the operations side, those are qualities that I'd like to see reflected in my team that is pursuing that first customer interaction.
So the level of training really at the Academy has been kind of like a fire hose. There hasn't really been a wasted session that I can think of. I have, probably, 10 pages of notes, action items to take back to really evaluate and look at our processes, hopefully implement some of these things that are going to make us a better MSP.
Josh, that guy is a ball of energy. Just love his twang, his voice. But, this is a guy that you meet and you can get a bear hug from this guy. Just a very family-oriented guy. Josh was absolutely brilliant.
Josh is also amazing because he can cut through the bullshit and he's not going to let it flow, right? I mean, he can identify when something's real, when it's not. And again, with all his experience, he's able to say, here's the why. Why do you need to do this? If you understand the why, you're more apt to do it. And in the sales process, it's really important to stay on task, and you have a process and a methodology, and he'll keep you on track, and he'll keep you accountable, and he'll make you laugh while he's doing it.
I really loved working with Josh as a trainer and a coach. High-spirited, high energy, and quite honestly, I feed off of that, right?
Josh has been very supportive. Josh has done a fantastic job of providing very constructive feedback during my presentation training that allowed me to close the sale.
So Josh is an interesting guy. He has got so much energy. He does such a great job as kind of just keeping the show energized and running. We talked together about the disc that his session was about, and his knowledge of the kind of personalities and how they work together and where the strengths are is pretty in depth. It was fascinating to hear his take on that.
The people part of what Josh brings to the table is really important. A lot of times we miss things because of just interactions in our culture or missed interactions in our culture. And so some of the framework that he's brought to the training sessions that he does are things that we're able to implement in our team, as well as just a general awareness of those right questions to ask and the right things to be watching for to keep everybody moving the same direction.
Just being here at Academy, Josh the man. Josh is the MC that everybody needs, but then takes that red coat off, puts on his navy blue blazer, and he becomes a rock star teacher and coach. Two personas, but you need both of those in an environment like this. So yeah, very special.
It's pretty interesting how they tag team. I got that just enough Josh, and then all of a sudden Nick came in. And then Nick would go. And it was like, okay. And then Josh came in. So the way they fed off each other was awesome. The way they intertwined in their educational piece was really helpful for me to be able to learn. Great learning experience.
For somebody that is a spectator in the marketing realm, I really appreciate both the content and the delivery that Brandi brings to the table. And so for me, as the user experience, I can look at those things and see how I might react to those and be able to work more directly with our team as they're developing the things that they're doing that are the outward-facing part of our company.
Brandi is, oh my God, I got to talk to her before we even went into a session, and I was very, very impressed with talking to her. She's a ball of energy, but yet she's a wealth of information. Marketing is in her blood. Marketing is something I think she was born to do. Just talking to her and being embraced by her, superb. A1.
Being in Brandi's session, you can just see the experience she has and the knowledge that she's put into CharTec and into the team, and then helping out the MSPs. That itself is amazing. The knowledge of experience, whether it's in the United States or her experience working remote, she's a leader in itself, and that stood out.
Dan Martin, as a trainer and a coach, is excellent. He's to the point. He's blunt. He really understands the question, thinks through, and ties it all together. Personally, he answers the actual questions. So sometimes when you get in front of different trainers and things like that, they kind of circumvent the question. He always looks to understand it and make sure it all ties together, and make sure he responds to whatever the question is with an actual answer, which is important and useful.
Dan is, for me, one of the high values and one of the main reasons I spend evenings smoking cigars and talking about different things that are on the roadmap. His experience that he brings is very practical things that I can apply at every stage of growth. There's also levels that he's been able to really articulate well so that you can anticipate the things that are coming as you're in that growth curve, no matter what size your company is.
I would say it is one of the best investments in time and money that I have made. I would highly recommend that you at least come and give it a chance. There's a lot of sales organizations, there's a lot of things out there, but the depth of knowledge, and again, I go back to the culture of truly wanting to help you succeed. I've been through a lot of different organizations, and I've never been in one that's as sincere as this is to truly want you to succeed from all aspects, from sales to marketing to operations, metrics, how to get your reports. And if you're involved with ConnectWise at all, you're going to need to help